Good morning. It is 11 o'clock. Let's get you a weather update this morning. I'm News 19 meteorologist Tim Miller. I want to thank you all for your messages. I just got a message a few moments ago from a young lady that's having a bachelorette party in Charleston, and she says, "Tim, I'm having a bachelorette party in Charleston." Now, that's all she said. I don't know if that was an invitation or if it was that she's actually wants to know what the weather is. I think it's what the weather is. I'm busy. I can't go anywhere on Saturday. Truthfully, if you're headed to Charleston, it's only a dusting down there. Still, be careful with traveling. Traveling is going to be an issue. There's no doubt about that. Just give yourself a lot of extra time and make sure everything's inside because it's going to be cold even down near the coast. All right, winter storm watch in effect for us until, well, it starts at 7 p.m. Friday, goes all the way till Sunday at 1 o'clock. This is really for most of the entire state, except down near the coast at this point. This more than likely will become a winter storm warning from the National Weather Service. Not only are we dealing with the snow, but these cold temperatures. And I got to tell you, I really think this is the big thing here. 16 degrees the low on Sunday, 13 on Monday. The wind chill, by the way, starting Saturday all the way through this period is going to be feeling like either single digits or 0 degrees. That is unbelievable for us. We never get that cold, but that's going to be the case. So these are the actual temperatures. The wind chill will even be colder than that. So where are we with this winter storm when it comes to winter forecasting? Normally we start about 10 days out. We are now down to 1 to 3. And what happens then? We're talking about forecast details now. Now we're talking about amounts, location, and the timing of a winter storm. So here it is. Remember the other day I was talking about there are 3 scenarios that we're going to have with this storm. One, it can go right over us and it's a rain event. Rain, sort of snow, and sort of yucky. It can be off our coast or it can be far out to sea. If it's far out to sea, it's dry, it's cold, don't have to worry about it. My thinking is now it's right off the coast. And with this type of air that we have, this is very rare for us. We're having really dry Arctic air. So when we start to get snow from this particular air mass, it's very light and fluffy. It's going to be hard to make a snowman. I'd give it a go college try out there, or snowballs. It's very light and fluffy snow because the air is dry. What we call the snow ratio for this, for us, is totally different than it would be otherwise with a lot more moisture in the air. So here's how it plays out. We're into Saturday. Here comes that low. Boom. Counterclockwise flow brings in all this moisture. The cold air is in place. And the whole column of air from the surface to aloft is snow growth, which is, again, very rare for us. That's why it's extremely rare for us to get snow here in South Carolina, especially a snow like this. It's been years since we've had one of these develop. By midnight Sunday, this thing is off the East Coast, and that could be a big problem for our friends to the north, and for us, we're with snow flurries by Sunday night. So let's take a look at where we're at here. We're going to start Friday night, 7 o'clock. There's the timeline upper right-hand corner of your screen. We'll start off with a little rain, maybe snow mix. There we are about midnight. Here comes the colder air. Watch those arrows switch to the north. Boom, there it is. So we're going to have these waves of snow that come. You'll notice that we have these little streaks here, right? 1, 2, those are heavier snow streaks. So which means we'll have light snow and all of a sudden, this burst of snow, real heavy. Then it'll go light, then another burst of snow. That's why I think you can't pinpoint exactly who's going to get what with snow. Snow's different than rain in its predictability, for sure. That's why we do these ranges, right? 1 to 3, 2 to 4. This is 6 o'clock Saturday night. We're still dealing with snow. Again, see these heavier streaks? Look at the wind right out of the north. And that wind will be gusting up to 30 miles per hour. It's going to be cold. We're going to have wind chills in the teens, if not lower, probably single digits. It's going to be snowing, and you're going to think, what in the world is going on here? This is not Columbia, South Carolina. This is more like Duluth, Minnesota. There goes 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're done with it, and we'll see some sunshine by Sunday. It's not going to warm up, though, I promise you that. Let's look at the latest weather models. The Euro giving us 7 inches of snow, okay? Let's get to the GFS, see what it has to say. Let's see what good, glad tidings it brings us. 3 inches and change, 3/8, almost 4 inches of snow. So generally speaking, we're starting to get a consensus here. So my thinking is with this is we'll be anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow across the Midlands. Now you say that's a pretty wide swath there, Tim Miller. That's because, again, with something like this, we're going to have these bands of heavy snow, right? So all of a sudden, you may get a few inches, but 20 miles down the road, you get this heavy band of snow. Whew, there's a 4 or 5 inch snowfall. So I think 2 to 5 makes a lot more sense than 1 to 3 for us, right? Does that, you understand it? So then further towards the south, Orangeburg, Aiken, it's a 1 to 3 inch snowfall. Further towards the north, Raleigh could be seeing a foot. That's unbelievable. That'll close down Raleigh for sure. So by the way, if you're traveling out of Columbia Metro, out of Greenville Airport, there probably Charleston will certainly have some issues, but I think Columbia certainly there'll either be delays or cancellations galore. Same thing for up in Greenville, Spartanburg. Charlotte will be a mess as well. Atlanta is on the cusp of this. However, on a little weather side note here, there's what we call a little upper level low. It's low pressure that's in the upper atmosphere. That's going to be zooming down towards the south. That actually may bring snow to North Georgia. And if that's the case, Atlanta will get into its own situation, which has really nothing to do with this low that's off our coast. This is how crazy complicated this can be here. So once that low does its thing, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Got to show you this. 7 degrees now is what the feels like temperature will be at 3 a.m. Sunday. How about that? 7 degrees. I wouldn't be surprised, clearly, if we see a 0 or even in the -1, -2, feeling like to expose skin. So if you want to go outside and play in the snow, like I do as well, I know the kids are going to want to do this. You can't stop them from doing that, right? Because you want to take pictures. You go outside, spend a little time outside, back inside, go and warm up. Then go back outside. You're going to do this trek here back and forth because you cannot spend long periods of time outside with the snow and this cold. I don't care what you're wearing, it's going to go right through you, which, by the way, it is better to dress in layers than a big old fluffy coat. A big warm coat, it's better to dress and just layer up, okay? Vanity out the window, doesn't care, you can peel off all the clothes once you get inside and, you're done outside, but that's how you stay warm. You dress in layers with this. So how does this pan out? As of this morning, here's how it's looking. Basically, Friday evening, rain, snow mix, changing to all snow. Saturday morning through Saturday evening, periods of snow. Some of that snow will be heavy. 2 to 5 inches, generally speaking. 3 to 6 inches northeast, maybe towards the PD, towards Fayetteville, Raleigh, Winston-Salem, if you're headed towards North Carolina. The snow ends early Sunday morning, bitter cold temperatures, and the wind chill, again, 7, 8 degrees, maybe 0. Whew. I mean, it's going to be brutally cold and dangerously cold for us in addition to the snow, all right? So this is something we don't want to fool with. So here is our 7-day forecast. Impact days for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's what we need to be most careful about. Low temperature of 13. Again, we're going to see maybe some lows actually around 10 or 9. You throw the wind chill in there, we're easily at 0 or below. That's how dangerous this is. One other important note is, one, we're going to have complete coverage all weekend long on this, on air, online at WLTX.com, all of our social media sites, Facebook and the like, and of course here on the app, WLTX Plus, here all weekend long to get you through this, because this is going to be a forecast weather-wise. We'll be tweaking as we go along here. As the storm goes on, we may adjust some of these totals. I think some of these totals are pretty, as of this morning, what we're thinking, but we may tweak this as we go along. Of course, with plenty of all of our news folks are on the scene, and they'll be making sure that you are safe and sound and with the latest information as we go through this weather event together, our second winter weather event. Goodness gracious, in the last 2 weeks. I'm telling you, I think that we're on the backside of this. We'll start to warm up here, and things will start to change as we get into not this weekend, obviously, but next weekend and beyond. I see a pattern change where we'll start to warm up here and at least get near normal or above. Won't that be a change? That's the very latest with your forecast. We'll continue to keep you updated. Thank you for joining us this morning.